Welcome into the Ranch Sitdown. Today's guest, the winner of the 2023 Larry Joe Taylor Songwriters Showcase, military veteran, and a guy I will gladly admit is my friend, Caleb Sam Brown. Welcome, buddy. How are you?
Great. Good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming in. And this time it wasn't such a long trip to see us. You're back in Texas, I understand.
Oh yeah, I'm out in the hill country, Spicewood area. If you know where Marble Falls is, you've gone too far.
Mm-hmm. Working out there.
Yeah, just working. Actually, so I swung a deal with Jordan and the military to get out 6 months early in exchange for doing an internship with him out at the distillery. So,
really? Very cool. You're working with Iron Wolf. Love those guys.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully they'll do an endorsement with me. I'd appreciate some free liquor.
Yeah, I mean,
big fan.
I mean, you can. I have the keys. But
all right, see you guys. Great interview. We're out of here now. So, life is different. You were a military guy last time I talked, so you took about 3 different trips from South Carolina to Texas to be a part of the LJT Songwriter Showcase. Took a shot. I believe it was your sister that kind of got you signed up on that.
Yeah, my sister Frankie. She hit me up whenever I was doing a little unit training exercise out in California, and she called me up and was like, "Hey, this Larry Joe Taylor Fest thing is serious. You got to try out for this." And I was like, whatever. But yeah, no, on a whim, I went and borrowed the chaplain's guitar, took a couple videos, waited about 6 hours for them to upload in the service out there.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
And then, lo and behold, I got accepted in, and then it was like, now I just have to commute to Texas every weekend for the foreseeable future.
No, was that hard to negotiate that with the higher-ups?
It would have been if my boss hadn't been looking out for me, because as soon as we got back from that exercise, it was about like 2.5 months that we were gone. So when we got back, he was super enthusiastic about it. I was like, "Look, should I even do this?" And he was like, "Man, we don't have anything going on that we need you for this weekend, or whenever." Now, by the 3rd time that I went, he was like, "Is this, like, are you serious? Is this a real thing?
You better win this thing." Oh, yeah. Did he think you were lying, just going off on leave?
I would say I would show him videos.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I had leave saved up, and so I just took my time off to travel. So.
Yeah, last time I saw you, you were, it was April at the festival, and you were on a complete music high. And, like, you were the guy that everybody was talking about. You just won the contest. You were getting to see the festival for the first time, and those tens and tens of thousands of people. That was quite a blast, man, just to see the smile on your face. Like, I've been going to this thing for, more than 20 years, and you start, just kind of becomes second nature. But to see people out there for the first time with such a just huge smile on their face, enjoying every moment and soaking up every minute of it, that was really fun to see.
Oh yeah, it was super cool. And I was talking to Nick Brumley the other day. It was like 11:30, and he texted me, "You still awake?" And I was like, laying down in bed. I was like, "Yep." So we talked about songwriting for like an hour and a half.
Oh, that's cool.
That was something that he mentioned. He mentioned that same thing that you did. He said you were just so happy, and I was like, I couldn't be anything else, at that festival. It was so cool. I saw someone wearing my t-shirt that it wasn't a blood relative, so that was pretty awesome.
That's very nice. Yeah. So not only did you get to play some live music, you might have made $10.
Yeah, I think I made exactly $10, but it was still cool.
That's cool. So the first recordings we have from you, Lumber and Gasoline, Oklahoma Lonesome, Blue and Gray and Red, all these very raw recordings. You did those in your home studio.
Oh, yeah.
That is a brave thing to do for any artist, especially when it's your first thing that's coming out, because you're showing, any vulnerability that you have is going to showcase on that. But I think, honestly, that's what won you over with our ranch listeners, is because great voice, great songs, and a guitar. And that's really all it was, man. And that was just, it's a bold move, but it was a very good move on your part.
I would argue that it was stupid, but I'm not ashamed of that. No, it was, it was something that I had poured a lot of passion into, and then I had to learn on the studio side, of how all that works. And it was a very lengthy process to even just learn all that stuff. And now I listen back to those recordings, and I'm like, I wish I knew just a little bit more at that time,
Right.
And now I do know a little bit more, but that's why I'm getting into the studio soon.
That was going to be my next question. Were you like a really tough critic on yourself during that whole process, or were you just trying to get things out?
Oh no, it was miserable because I would listen to these mixes day in and day out, just like on my way to work. Anytime I was in the car, anytime I had headphones,
Right.
to hear it in different sources and everything. And I went to the YouTube University, you know, just studying up on all these retired engineers sitting around
Right.
talking about you know, tricks of the trade and everything. But no, I mean it was a really critical process, but I feel like that's just the type of person that I am. Like I'm always going to be. I hope that I'm always my worst critic, because if not, I'd really hate to, you know,
You don't
hear
want me
what
to
other
be your
people-
worst critic.
What's that?
You don't want me to be your worst critic.
No, definitely not.
No, you don't. You want to be your worst
If
critic.
you can be my hype man, I'd really
Okay, I
appreciate
can
it.
do that. I can do that. A whole jam box. We'll walk out in the
Oh,
ring.
yeah.
It's going to be a big deal.
Hell yeah.
Big deal. You got the robe on, the silk robe. So you got your guitar with us. This is the guitar, actually, that you won as part of the showcase.
Yes, but don't tell my accountant that. It was a gift.
This is the guitar that I gave you to borrow because of the showcase.
Yes, sir.
Okay, edit that
Indefinitely.
last part out there. Yeah.
No, but yeah, this is it, and it's honestly, I've never bought a guitar in my life.
Really?
Wait, I did buy a $100 pawn shop bass guitar when I was 19
Okay.
because we really needed a bassist, and I drew the short straw.
You got
So,
the bass, yeah.
But yeah, no, I bought that guitar. Every other guitar has either been, there's this one. My uncle gave me the Washburn that I usually take around with me, kind of my bluegrass guitar. And so yeah, no, I've never bought one. I keep waiting for them to come in, and so far so good.
That's crazy, man. You're a blessed man.
Yeah, I was definitely lucky. I felt like I was stealing this thing when I walked out, though.
Right.
Because I mean, you know, it wasn't like a.
It's not a $100 guitar.
No, I think it might even be a $200 guitar.
Maybe.
But,
Maybe. Yeah, it's beautiful. It really
No,
is.
it's great, and it really does change the way that I write music.
Really?
You know, it's getting a different. I didn't believe guitarists when I used to hear them say that. I was like, dude, you just want to buy another guitar, and you're telling yourself all the reasons why you're going to do it,
Right.
even though you shouldn't. And but no, like really getting a different sound while doing the same things is going to make you kind of think of what you're writing and singing differently. Maybe not singing, but definitely the way that you're picking and the way that you move around the instrument. Like,
Put you on a different level, kind of.
yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It's like I've been driving a Ford Taurus my whole life, and then all of a sudden someone handed me the keys to a Cadillac. You know, I'm not
Right.
going to drive it the same way,
Yeah, that's a good point.
and I'm more likely to get a speeding ticket. But
yeah,
it's
right.
a little off topic.
Right. What was it Deion Sanders said? Look good, feel good, play good.
Something like that.
So there you go. You got your pretty little Gibson there
Mhm.
now. So what are you going to play for us, Caleb Sam Brown?
So I got some new stuff I've been working on.
Oh, cool.
So for some reason I came out of a writing block recently,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it seems like everything's just really flowing now. So
Good.
I'm gonna do a new one that I wrote a couple months ago, I guess. If I can find my capo. I told you I walked out without the guitar for the first time this morning.
Yeah.
The capo's been in my pocket all week, so
You still good?
yeah.
Got it? All right, good deal.
So I wrote this song for my daughter Abigail,
Uh-huh.
and it's a rare moment of me writing a gushy, you know, type of indulging
yeah, you don't
song.
have a lot of gushy songs.
I do not. I'd rather sing about Civil War ghosts than
Right. I'd rather hear you sing about no offense, I haven't heard this song yet. But yeah, I love your Civil War song.
So we'll check this one out. It's called It's You. Hopefully
right.
I'll have a studio recording of this one sometime in the new year.
Perfect.
The humming of the highway used to be music to my ears, but now I find the silence deafening all the way out here. Maybe if my years caught up to me, my thoughts might settle down. But I don't think my bones were meant to be buried in this town. I never had much faith in the fact that I could dodge the fall. You're the only one that's ever had faith in me at all. 'Cause it's you, dancing at the edge of my view. I make this solemn pledge, if there's ever gonna be a reason to make me follow through, it's you. I left Carolina yesterday, I'm never looking back. I guess I kinda knew that anyway, my bags are always packed. I can almost see you sitting there, question on your mind. I can almost hear you asking me how long I'll stay this time. 'Cause it's you, it's dancing at the edge of my view. And I make this solemn pledge, if there's ever gonna be a reason to make me follow through, it's you. Cause it's you, it's dancing at the edge of my view. Make this solemn pledge, 'cause God has given me a daughter, it's gonna make me follow through. It's you. It's you.
So you can write a love song.
Apparently,
love
I
song.
guess.
That's beautiful,
Thank
man.
you.
Caleb Sam Brown joining us here on the Ranch Sitdown. You recently sent me a song called Coyote.
I did.
And I understand you wrote that in a not usual place.
Yeah, I had been playing around with the lyrics whenever I was doing a workup with my Marines, and I ended up coming up with the kind of the rhythm of it and the tune and everything whenever I was in the back of a CH-53. So we were on our way to fly up to a mountain because 2 of our Marines wanted to get promoted up there. We found some pilots who were willing to do it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was super cool. It's very surreal being in the back of a bird. You know, they said, who wants to come sit on the turret? And everyone looked at each other, and I said, well, I will if no one else.
How many opportunities do you get to do that?
So, but yeah, and then there was always yipping coyotes when we'd be, out in the field. There was one night where we were sleeping in the back of a truck, and we were supposed to leave, first light the next day back to the camp, and there was just all of a sudden it was 3:17 in the morning. I don't know why I remember that, but just
weird.
Coyotes just started. A whole family of them stumbled into our camp. I guess we were hidden well, but they just started yipping, just
panicked,
screaming, yeah. And a bunch of Marines woke up and started yipping and screaming too, so that's kind of cool. But
That's some fun, huh?
That's where that happened.
So what we talked about, you went in the LJT songwriting contest. You're about to go on what is your first cruise ever because of that? I feel like I should sign up for this songwriting showcase just for a chance to win a Gibson and a cruise.
I definitely think it's worthwhile. Yeah,
man.
Yeah, well, I mean, you were telling me about that song idea you had earlier. I won't reveal it until we get a tune to it. But,
right? Yeah.
You know,
I'll let you have that.
You might have a future in that, man.
Right.
I mean, I'm 26 years old, and it feels like
I'm my ass in my own interview. It's fine.
Well, I mean, if anyone else could see the shit-eating grin on my face,
you're right.
But no, I mean, it's one of those things. And I already feel super behind because I've spent the last. Spent 4 years in college to get a commission, to spend 5 years in the military. Now it feels like I'm just so far behind. You see some of these young guys. Randy Hoyt is one that comes to mind. He was in the songwriting contest, and I see these talented guys. And I guess I'm not old enough to say, oh, all these young men or whatever.
Let's be honest, they look like they're 15.
Yeah, but they play like
they're 40.
Yeah, like they're years ahead of me.
Yeah.
And it's just when you see guys like that who have really put in the work, to be that guitarist, that songwriter, and you're just like, man. Whenever they announced that I had won that contest, I was like, there's just no way, because the amount of people that I saw in there that would walk up on stage, and I'd turn to whoever was with me, and it'd just be like, I'd lose to that guy. That's awesome,
Yeah, and the thing was, like, I was probably not supposed to announce this. I was one of the judges that night.
Yeah.
I was backstage, and there was a lot of discussion because there was so much talent.
It was a powerhouse.
In 2023. It was nuts. I mean, there was a good probably 6 or 7 people that really could have won that thing.
Oh, yeah. And like you said at the festival,
I had to beat everybody up for you to win. Is what happened. I did that for you, Caleb.
Well, I always tell the other story, because when you announced me on stage at the festival, you said, there's a lot of talented people, so we drew names from a hat, and this guy won. And I tell people that, and I'm like, you don't believe me? Shayne Hollinger said it.
Man, it was, but like, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, he's good, and she's good, and she's good. Like, what do we do here?
There were so many talented, and just like to hear some of the songs that people would put out. Like, I mean, I'm not a super, like, emotional person, but like, I was sitting there tearing up at some of those ballads that people were singing, and I'm like, you didn't make this up. You know what I mean? You only put it in words. Yeah. Like, there's certain songs that you hear and you're like, this is
their song.
Yeah, 100%.
And they just opened up their heart in front of everybody, which is a hard thing to do, which you're good at doing, though. Like, you hear that real raw emotion in your songs. That's
I'm hopelessly honest.
Is that what it is?
I
don't think there's a problem with that.
I tried lying one time and I got confused, so I figured I'll just keep it simple, stupid. You know?
Yeah. So have you set any goals for yourself now that you're done with your military career? Set any goals for yourself for music? Like, what's the next step for you? Where do you feel like you need to do next? Are you still trying to figure that out?
Well, I mean, it's weird, right? I've started a band in every town that I've lived in, pretty much. Started one in, except Virginia, I guess, because COVID was going on. But
yeah, Florida,
I started a small group. South Carolina, I had a group. I really wish I could have brought both of those guys with me, but that's always step one is always get the band together, And I've got some good friends who are musicians back here in Texas, and I'm kind of leaning on them. But yeah, I mean, I'm tired of doing the solo stuff, to be honest, because it takes almost as long to set up.
Yeah.
If you're doing a solo show, you don't have a roadie with you.
Right. Yeah.
The pay is all right depending on where you go,
yeah.
But no, I think that and people want to hear what the song was intended to sound like, which is with a band in mind. So that's the next step, I guess. And then, getting my name out there. I know that this is a people business, so building a reputation on the call it the logistical side, but like on the actual performance side, and building a good reputation with venues and owners and things like that. And I know that that's the only way you can do it. You don't make friends by burning bridges. So just trying to kind of piece that together and build a reputation among the people, and doing things like this, people who have already become very successful in their respective fields that is parallel to the industry that I'm, a part of. It's really hard to go and pitch yourself. The product that you're selling as a musician is yourself.
Yeah.
So if you go to someone and you say, hey, you should hire me, and they're like, who are you?
Right.
It's like it's almost like it's already an ask. So I think building the business side is and letting the music just happen, as it will. Because like I said, coming out of a writing block, and I sat down and just had almost 10 songs just come flying out.
Weird how that happens.
It's
to
so
you
weird.
Guys.
Over a year, and I couldn't put pen to paper.
You're trying your hardest, and sometimes when you don't try is when it happens. It's like, what in the world?
That's
so
absolutely it.
Caleb, what is like your songwriting process? When you do you wait for that inspiration, or like when you said you came out of the block and you started writing, do you set like, okay, today starting at 10 o'clock, I'm going to sit down at this desk and write? Well, I mean, what?
Oh, absolutely not. I can't do that.
That's not you. See, everybody's different, and it's always very interesting to me because nobody seems to do it the same way. So, what is your process usually?
It always starts with a line, whatever that is. I don't think, hey, I want to write a song about blank. And people will give me recommendations for songs, and I'm not very good at taking that and crafting it into something. It has to be something, like for me, I think wordplay is my favorite part about it, is just putting English is a weird language, you know, made up of all these other languages, and I find it to be comical almost to shape it. Yeah. And so to shape it into something that's rhythmic and everything. Once I have that first line, I told my grandpa the other day, because he claims not to have a musical bone in his body, and he was asking me the same question, and I hadn't really thought about it, but I realized it's kind of like a clam, you know, or an oyster. Whenever they get that little bit of dirt or whatever it is in there, it takes a long time, and they just sit there and get rolled around, and that's the only way it ever becomes a pearl. So for me, if I say I'm going to sit down and
open to get to the pearl too,
100%, yeah, and you don't know if it's ready yet, you know, and you could be wasting that effort. So it's kind of just a word or a phrase will come into my mind, and I'm like, I really like the feel of that or the taste of that, you know, and the tune always comes at the same time. I never have a line that's independent of the tune, and that's why for me I have so many scrap songs, because I have like a golden gem line in there, I think, and then I can't make the rest of the song happen. I can't scrap that and put it into a different meter or a different tune.
If you can't make it work, are you done with it, or do you store those little scraps somewhere and hopefully brings it back?
My notes app.
Oh, I bet it's full.
Oh, it's a graveyard of dead song ideas. But
I think are great ideas.
I have really come back to, you know, in a perfect songwriting scenario, like whenever I wrote, it was when I wrote Oklahoma Lonesome.
Yeah.
I literally, like, my wife had gone out of town for a week or something like that, and I literally, it was just my first night. I'd been in, you know, in training for my military stuff, and it was the first time I really had like a full weekend off, and it was quiet in the house. And I just sat down and, I walked around the house. I'm a nervous pacer. Yeah. I walked around the house for a couple hours until I just had the whole thing typed up in my phone. But sometimes I'll sit and chew on one for weeks before, and then all of a sudden it's just song happens. That's how it was with that one I did. It's You. I wrote that on a drive home.
Wow.
And it just happened.
Hopefully you just wrote it in your head. You weren't literally writing it on a piece of paper as you're driving.
I will neither confirm nor deny that, but for the authorities listening, I'm a very responsible driver.
Very responsible driver. Thanks, Rain Man. So I still remember watching you in that moment in April. We introduced you as the winner. You got to be on the stage there in front of the crowd at Larry Joe's, and standing backstage, Dave Perez was about to come up and help you out with the Tejas Brothers come out and help you out on a song. And you did your first song, and he leans over to him and he goes, "We made the right choice." And it was just like, God, yeah. And for me, that was so cool to see an artist become a fan of another artist.
Oh, it's always like
that's
this.
That's such a neat feeling to see that happen.
Yeah, and it's cool to realize you're becoming a fan of someone at the same time. Because, like, when I first became a Turnpike Troubadours fan, it took me a long time to really get into their songs, because I knew that they were catchy, right?
Yeah.
But you listen to one of those songs and the amount of story that's packed into that, and then it goes to a super catchy melody, and it's like, you know, Evan Felker is just such a genius in the way that he writes.
Absolutely.
And so seeing myself become a fan of him to the point where, like, I don't even listen to music very much anymore.
Really?
You catch me at work and I have headphones in, I'm probably putting on an audio.
Such an egomaniac. You only listen to your own stuff. Is that what you're saying? Wow.
I am such an egomaniac. I'm listening to my own stuff going, damn it, that needed more kick
terrible.
drum.
Why did I put that on tape?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I should have hired someone. But no, it is a cool feeling seeing that, and like seeing other musicians, having them tell you that they're a fan of your stuff is like, I remember when I played solo gigs, and this guy had walked in and he had a Gibson or a Fender shirt on or something, and I was like, crap. There's someone here who knows what he's doing.
Right.
He knows that I don't know what I'm doing. And that, like, imposter syndrome type of thing. But
right.
having musicians that you can just legitimately sit down and have a conversation with, and, you know, even if it's just telling you, hey, good set, you know, like someone told me good set and then shook my hand in line for the Porta-John at the Larry Joe Taylor Fest. He said, "My name's Walt." And I said, "Wilkins or Disney?" And he confirmed, in fact, Wilkins.
Wow.
So,
wow.
And it's just, you know, I got to introduce my dad to Max Salling and his wife.
Yeah.
And because he introduced me to that music years ago, and then to see this literal giant of a man in person, like, you know, and I think he said something along the lines of, "Hey, gonna be honest, didn't catch your set, but I wish I had." And I was like,
no, he could have lied to you.
He could have lied to me, but
you sounded great. Like, I haven't
turn
played
around,
yet.
Jackass.
You're right. He'll never be me.
But yeah, like just getting the inside of the industry in that way is just super cool, and I'm fascinated with all the logistical elements of making it happen. I've learned so much about how to run sound. I'm considering just quitting being a musician and doing that because that's where the money is.
Yeah, that's where you're actually going to get paid, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Because everybody has to have sound. So yeah, it's really cool. I'm so glad your sister got you in to that showcase, because you've become a part of this scene. And as you've noticed now, and you're seeing it, like you said, your conversation with Nick Brumley the other night, we're all champions for each other. It's not a competition in the Texas Red Dirt Americana scene.
Mm-hmm.
It is just, we're all trying to do something with the same goal of, getting this music out to the world, but doing it our own way and showing that you can have some depth and some realism in your lyrics and still make an impact. And that's, so glad you're a part of the scene, man.
Really I didn't even listen to country music when I was super little or like in high school, because I heard the stuff on the radio and thought, oh, that's country music. I don't really care for that. Yeah. And then my dad introduced me to Cross Canadian Ragweed, and my world changed. You know what I mean?
That changed a lot of people, man. That really did.
It really did. And then seeing, and Cody Canada is another guy that I'd like to sit down and talk to, just because, one, I'd like to get guitar lessons from him.
Right, yeah. Oof, God, good luck with that.
Yeah, probably a long waiting list.
Keep up with that. That's impossible. So how about one more song, Caleb?
Yeah, for sure.
What are we going to hear?
This is another one I'm taking into the studio, and it's called, what did I name this? Name this one Just How Lonesome. That's what it is. And it goes something like this. They say step one is admit you have a problem. Well, now I guess I ain't got past that one yet. Living in my own personal rock bottom, finding out just how lonesome gets. You had me swimming in a sea of expectations, dotting all my T's, crossing all my I's. Now I'm drowning in my own inebriation, thinking about the days when I could call you mine. Now they say step one is admit you have a problem. Well, now I guess I ain't got past that one yet. Living in my own personal rock bottom, finding out just how lonesome gets. I still can't believe you got me wearing khakis, busting my ass to keep up with the Jones. Was I happy with you? Well, no, not exactly. I'm still figuring out this being on my own. But they say step one is admit you have a problem. Well, now I guess I ain't got past that one yet. Living in my own personal rock bottom, finding out just how lonesome gets. Well, I wasn't Mr. Right, so you told me goodbye. Now I'm losing you 12 ounces at a time. They say step one is admit you have a problem. Well, now I guess I ain't got past that one yet. Living in my own personal rock bottom, finding out just how lonesome Just how lonesome gets. Something like that.
Caleb Sam Brown on the Ranch Sitdown, man. It's so good to catch up with you.
Oh, yeah.
Just a pleasure. So when are you going to go in studio, and are we allowed to tell you who you're going in studio with?
I don't know because I haven't asked who I'm going to the studio with.
Okay.
But no, I'm going to be doing it probably end of January, if not beginning of February.
So pretty close.
Yeah, hopefully, if they're able to squeeze me in the schedule. Some great engineers. I can't wait to talk about that. But one thing is, I do get to work with Lloyd Maines for one track. So
bless you, man.
I'm
that is so
excited.
Cool.
Having someone who knows what they're talking about talk to me as I'm doing the music instead of afterwards saying, you could have or you should have.
After the fact, yeah.
I've heard a lot of that since my bedroom album came out.
Oh, really? The bedroom album. I like the name of that.
So but super excited, and I really appreciate you having me on, man. It's good to be in Fort Worth, Texas. Seen 3 violent homeless people today, so that's cool.
That's a slow day, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Another day in paradise. So.
Right. Caleb Sam Brown, thank you, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Great job, man.
Oh, man.
Great job.
I should have warmed up my voice. That one's never going to be the opener for the set. That's a doozy.
Yeah, I got to say, you got to build up to that. That's some bourbon first.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm trying to.
Are you?
Yeah, we're supposed to save my life.
I don't really drink that much, like very rarely. We went to Austin this last weekend, and I had like 2 old fashions, and I thought I was gonna die. It's like, oh my God, what's going on?
You know, I had quit like 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had 8 years, and I was literally telling myself, yeah, I remember my first year. Like,
Yeah, you remember? Isn't that weird?
it was so embarrassing. It was just me, and I was like, I mean, granted, it's a really good thing for my health and all that. But
Yeah.